This is my fold-up kayak. I retired August 15th and was on the road August 18th. Being on the road for 2.5 years, I have found people to be nothing but kind.
And what you're about to watch is an interview that I did with Jan, and I really hope that you're going to enjoy meeting Jan. She is retired. She's been on the road full time for 2.5 years. She has a she considers herself a minimalist, and she has a small number of supplies, but she has with her a mountain bike and a kayak, and she is a Christian. And part of what she does is she spreads good in the world where she goes. She sleeps in parking lots of Cracker Barrels and Walmarts and travels to small towns, avoids the interstate. And I think she's just a wonderful example of one way to do this van life. So enjoy, and see you in the next video. All right. So I'm here with my new great friend, Jan. So Jan, how did you get started doing this van life thing?
I think it was just something I was gradual. I started looking at YouTube videos. I raised my daughters, and they had been out of the house for a few years, and I was getting pretty much within a couple of years of retirement, and just deciding what I was going to do with the rest of my life and during retirement. And so raising two daughters, I wasn't able to travel a whole lot. And so both financially and just with their activities. And so I just thought this was the opportunity. And when I started out, didn't know if it would last one trip, but I've now been on the road a little over 2.5 years.
Wow. And have you been on the road full time?
Yes.
So what do you like about living on the road?
Well, I am an introvert. And so it gives me my own space, as well as I have found not having to take care of more things. I am a minimalist, so the more you have, the more you have to take care of. And spending money on a house for myself, to me just seemed wasteful as well. Or something that would sit there while I traveled, and had to come back to. So I guess that was kind of the thought.
So you sold your place?
I sold I sold my last condo about 6 months before I retired, moved in with a friend who was welcoming me, and just as I got ready to retire. And then I retired August 15th and was on the road August 18th. So
I love that. 3 days.
Yeah.
Because you'd been building up to it.
Yes, I'd been doing everything I needed to do to minimalize and to also just get rid of items over the last few years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you like living the minimal life, which you can do in a vehicle. You like having the low overhead. You're an introvert, so this works for you because you're mostly on your own.
Right.
So how do you like to travel? Do you stay in places a long time, or what do you do?
I do not use the interstate, and so I'll drive into a town. I'll just look at the map, what's new, and I'll Google what that town is noted for. If there's things there I want to see, I might stay a couple of days. I might stay that afternoon and move on. So I could drive, I could stay a few days, or I could, drive. I don't have a real agenda as to where I'm going, other than in the winter, I like to stay warm. So I try to stay where it's warmer, and then I just kind of follow the heat as the year goes on. And again, even though I'm somewhat of a minimalist and somewhat of a perfectionist, I don't have a real agenda as to where I'm going tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just, I might go to the next town.
And generally these are small towns. You're not talking cities.
smaller towns. I stay away from the cities unless there's something I really want to see there that maybe I haven't, that they're noted for. Um, and, things that interest me probably don't interest other people. Um, and vice versa. I'm not necessarily a history buff. Um, uh, but I I love what a lot of, especially in Florida, what a lot of small towns are doing with their downtowns and just the entrepreneurs that have opened up shops and that kind of thing. So, and again, I don't necessarily buy anything, but I just like to go and encourage people as well. I think that, I think God puts people in my way that I'm supposed to encourage, and if it's just a smile, it's a smile. But if it's a conversation, it's a conversation.
Yeah, no, that's so great.
Yeah.
Okay, so this morning when I was coming back from the lake, I saw you on a bicycle
Yes.
over here. So you drive with a bicycle.
I carry a bicycle with me. When I first started out, I did a folding bicycle, and it fit right in here beside my cot. And so I did that for probably the first year and a half, and I enjoyed having it. It is not as comfortable as a full size bike for me. And so just recently I went back to a full size Raleigh bike, and I just have um, the bike rack that goes on the back of the van, um, and the bike.
And this is not an e-bike. This is a
No,
regular bike.
this is a regular bike. I had an e-bike for a little bit. Honestly, for me, it didn't work. I just didn't like it. They're heavy.
Yeah,
They're heavier,
they
and
are
they're
heavy.
not as nimble.
And you got to charge them.
Right. You got to charge. Yeah, that. You got to worry about the lithium battery. Just a lot of things that, because I'm on the road, is just an added item. As well, I have a folding kayak that's in the front.
We'll look at that in a second. We'll look at that in a second.
Right.
But so bicycling, you go on, like, what kind of riding do you do?
I'm not a road bicyclist. I look up trails. Again, that's something that, kind of, I have a couple of apps that show me the bike trails around, which then also then probably helps my direction into different towns and that kind of thing, if they have a nice bike trail. And I look for something that has anywhere from 10 to 20 mile bike trails.
Okay. And do you like pack a lunch and go hang out in nature?
Yep. I usually pack, of course, my water, and depending on how long I'll go, I usually do most of my bike riding, of course, early in the morning, as you would anything you're outside before the heat gets too bad. And I'm an early bird, so as soon as the sun comes up, I'm ready to ride in the morning.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah.
So, from your stickers on here, I see that you're a Christian. Is that right?
Yes.
So does your beliefs in Christianity affect how you travel, or what you do, or the meaning behind it?
I don't know that it affects where I go or how. I think it affects my Christianity. I do, one of the first things I do when the sun comes up in the morning is I do some scripture reading, just to get my day started, just to get focused and spend some time with the Lord. And then, for the most part, I just am very mindful of people that I feel like God puts in my way.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be a homeless person sitting on the corner, and I might, start a conversation with them, or just somebody in the grocery store. I think it's an everyday process as a Christian, to just be mindful of people that just need that little bit of encouragement or a smile, or, help in some way. And so I tend to also be very mindful when people look like they could use a hand, because I am pretty mechanical and all that. So I think there's a lot of times it's usually something small, and especially for women, I think there's a lot of things that they don't know how to do or are frustrated by. So I try to keep my ears and eyes open to those kind of opportunities to help out.
It's so beautiful. I mean, I can just feel the way, like you use the word mindful, it brings you a greater sense of mindfulness as you go through your day, instead of I think we have a tendency to be pretty self-centered,
Right.
you know, we humans, and to expand
Right.
your sense of awareness and like, how can I help?
Right. Right. And you know, you have the opportunity. I think retiring. I saw something I won't be. I saw something where, you know, there's 4 stages of retirement, and I think retiring is a whole new portion of life that you have to adjust to. And I remember the first part is vacationing, and that first probably 4 or 5 months that I was retired, I was in vacation mode. You know,
Yes.
you go someplace and then you go somewhere else, and you go and you know, it's just a quick, you know, week, and that's all you've got when you're working, and then you get a vacation. You've only got a week, so you go and you come back. And the great part of retirement is I go and I go next door and I go next, you know, I go to the next city and
Yeah,
I go to the
yeah.
next city. And so it's not the destination,
Right.
it's the event.
Yeah.
Um,
It's every moment of every
yes,
day.
it's, you know, what can I find in this city? Every town has something.
Yeah.
You know, what can I find in this town that causes this community to be community?
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Because they have a unique personality.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I've, you know, again, people ask all the time, being on the road for 2.5 years, I have found people to be nothing but kind
Yeah.
and encouraging and helpful, and willing to have a conversation.
Yeah. It really boosts my belief in humanity,
Right.
my belief in people
Right.
to live this life.
Yes, I agree.
And that surprised me.
Huh. Right.
Not that I thought that it would be the other thing, but I didn't expect that that would be one of the
Right.
beneficial
Right.
outcomes of living on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easily. Again, you know, I think everybody has innate that they want to be helpful, that
Mhm.
they,
Yeah.
you know, and so I think you find that easily. And as long as we stay listening to media, or, you know, we're going to think all things bad, and
Yeah.
it's not that way when you get face to face, face to face with people,
Yeah.
and sharing, when you find the common ground
Yeah.
with somebody. That's the piece.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
So, what kind of places do you like to sleep overnight? Campgrounds, boondocking, Cracker Barrels?
I'm more of a boondocking. I don't I campground like this, where we're, you know, every once in a great while. If Before I had Planet Fitness membership, probably the first year and a half, I would camp once in a while so they get a shower.
Yeah. In the Planet Fitness parking
Well,
lot.
no,
Or,
if I was camping, then since I've had Planet Fitness, which gives you showers as well, for the most part, Cracker Barrel's my go-to
uh-huh.
because it's a surety. Very seldom are they not open to camping or staying overnight. I wouldn't consider myself a camper. Bless you.
Thank you.
I
You
would.
wouldn't, so when
I'm
you
more
say
of
I
a.
wouldn't consider myself a camper, what do you mean by that?
I'm more of a nomad.
Oh,
I don't. Nothing is outside of my van for the first. You know, for
yeah.
me to live. I don't have to.
Yeah.
You know, have anything else.
Camping kind of means a tent and a picnic table.
Or picnic table,
Yeah.
or I've got to have something out here so I can cook on it. That
Yeah.
kind of thing. And so, Cracker Barrel, Walmart, Planet Fitness, and it just goes on from there, depending on, you know, what town I'm in, and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Yeah.
And how do you find your spots? Do you use apps?
I use apps. Sometimes I just go into a town, and sometimes you can tell by who else is already there, maybe in a Walmart, whether or not it's, you know, available. Some people ask at Walmart or at Cracker Barrel, and I don't necessarily do that. I think they have to sometimes. Well, that's just my opinion. Sometimes they put up signs just because of their liability. But again, um, I've never really noticed that there's anybody to enforce. that anyway. Not that I would intentionally push that, but again, you kind of get the sense,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's that's key to just being open to your surroundings,
Mm-hmm.
what it looks like, where you're at,
And so, do you mostly sleep in parking lots of businesses? That's where
yes,
you mostly stay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, for the most part.
Well, should we take a look at your
Sure.
get up? All right. So, what kind of vehicle is this? Let's start there.
So this is a 2014 Ford Transit Connect passenger van.
All right.
And all the seats, all the passenger seats are gone.
Mm-hmm.
Front two seats are still intact. Solid floor, and I just built up from there. So a cot suits me. After the first year, I added a 4-piece foam, but just
in the first year, you just slept on the cot?
Yeah, just slept on the cot.
Okay, you are one tough woman.
And then added a 3 or 4-piece foam on top of that.
Yep.
It's got 15 inches, so I can put crates underneath or a suitcase.
And you can still sit all the way up.
I can sit up with my head not touching.
Yeah.
I have my pillow that I can put against the side or put against the back headrest.
Yeah. So this gives you a comfortable place to sit.
Yes.
You don't have to just lay down if you
Correct.
want to be in here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you've got just one little storage cabinet.
I've got this is for clothes that I typically wear.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have a suitcase for like winter items,
Mm-hmm.
or things that for dressier items.
Yep.
Should I need that. And I have storage under here that I keep my chairs in. I have hiking poles, fishing poles, all kinds of things in there as well.
Fishing too.
Yep, I do fishing as well.
Kayaking, bicycling,
biking, hiking, my hiking backpack, my hiking poles, all that kind of thing.
Oh, and I like these shower these curtain rods you've got here. Tell me about how you use them.
So originally those were for curtains, and I felt claustrophobic, so I ended up darkening the windows.
Okay.
And then so those kind of went by the wayside, but I didn't want to take them out. I use them to hang up my face wash cloths, or just need to air out something.
You bolted them in.
They just kind of bolted into the side there.
Okay.
And to the metal.
Yeah.
And it's just a curtain. Yeah, it's just it's actually a tension rod or a curtain rod you could use.
And why did you prefer a passenger van for the Ford Transit Connect over a cargo van? Because there's some differences.
The big difference for me is I am huge about road noise when I'm driving. And so one thing, you have to insulate a cargo van. And I didn't want to necessarily do that.
Yeah.
So I started looking at the passenger van because it's already insulated.
Right.
And again, when you first start out, I went as minimalist as I could and yet comfortable, because I didn't know how long I would be doing this. This is my first vehicle.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm happy enough with it. I'm not sure that I'll get any bigger.
Yeah.
For me.
Let's go look in the side door.
Sure.
Huh? I love your wilderness decals. Okay.
So I need space for lots of things, but when I drive, there's a few items here that then when I'm at night, then I put those things in the front seat, just backpack and that kind of thing. Suitcase for nicer clothes. I have this trunk organizer that I use for food items. I can get to it from either side if I need to, or I can pull it out.
Nice.
Kind of thing.
Is it long? It goes all the way over to the other side?
It's a 3. So it goes
3 compartments.
3 compartments totally under there. And again, just everything's kind of got its place.
Yeah. And this is your kayak.
This is my fold-up kayak.
How much trouble is it to fold it up and put it away?
Typically, it can be done in about anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes.
Okay. So you got to want a kayak,
Yeah, you've got to want to kayak, but I can't, I'm not able to put one on top of my vehicle, and I knew that. This one only weighs 27 pounds, I think. It has a shoulder strap, so when I pull it out, it goes over my shoulder, and I can take it down to the beach or wherever.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Now, I'm not seeing a fridge in here.
No.
And a lot of people have. Maybe this is a cooler up here.
It is I mean, I have a soft-sided cooler if I absolutely need it, but I don't, typically, I'm in and out of enough Walmarts and different things like that I just, if I'm buying, yogurt or a fresh salad, it's going to be daily.
Yeah, you're going to eat it that day.
Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, for the most part, canned items, I eat a lot of canned salmon on my salads, or fresh fruit, or that kind of thing. So it's not necessarily anything I don't really want to cook.
Yeah.
Or there's every once in a while I have a little mini. Every once in a while,
yeah, you got that little mini.
Yeah, I heat up a can of soup, but other than that, no.
And I remember you saying that you enjoy going to farmers markets in town.
Most Saturdays. That's another thing that I feel like your little towns, bring out your entrepreneurs, and so when Saturday rolls around, I'm looking for a local farmers market as well. Just again, I can get fresh produce there, and it'll last me 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Even without refrigeration. So
that's so great.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to share with us, Jan?
I don't think so. I enjoy this life. Don't know how long I'll be doing it, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And so I would just encourage anybody to just try it. Go locally, for a weekend or an overnight or a couple of nights, and you'll get a real good feel for how you feel doing it. There's so many times once I'm in a social setting, then I leave and I'm by myself, and it just feels great to be free.
Yeah. And as an introvert, I know for me, I really need solitude to recharge and to come back home to myself.
Right. Yes, and to focus back on what that maybe those few days of socializing has taken your focus somewhere else.
Yeah, which we're doing now, but we still have plenty of time to be on our own.
Sure.
Well, thank you so much.
Not a problem. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, I think you're very inspiring what you're doing, and I'm a little envious of the size of the Ford Transit Connect. It's not too huge.
Right.
It's not like one of those enormous ones. I don't need to be able to stand up, but it's more space.
Right.
How wide is your bed? Do you know?
The bed's only, I think, 27.
27. Okay.
Yeah, 27 to 30 is about as much, because I think I've only got 48 wide in total.
Yeah.
Back through there.
Yeah.
A little bit more here, but yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Well,
All
thanks.
Right. Thank you.